When did your respect for the chain of command completely shatter? The moment Colonel Brendan Hartwell looked me in the eye and said, "We're not calling a medevac for one soldier. It'll draw too much attention to this patrol." Specialist Curtis Vaughn was bleeding out on the floor of that Afghan compound. I could hear the wet, rattling sound of his breathing. Punctured lung, maybe worse. His blood was pooling on the concrete, spreading dark and fast in the dust. The copper smell mixed with the ever-present scent of diesel and human waste that defined every building in that village. Hartwell had a reputation as a by-the-book commander. West Point graduate, 2 deployments, spotless record. The kind of officer who gave PowerPoint presentations about leadership and values. What I didn't know until that day was that his spotless record came from never reporting anything that might make him look bad. We'd taken small arms fire during a routine patrol. Nothing major. 3 insurgents, neutralized quickly. But Vaughn had caught shrapnel from an RPG that hit the wall next to him, shredded his side, collapsed his lung. In the chaos, I'd called for immediate medical evacuation. Standard procedure. Life-threatening injury equals immediate evac. That's when Hartwell pulled me aside, his hand gripping my arm hard enough to bruise. "Negative on that medevac," he said quietly. His breath smelled like the mint gum he constantly chewed. "This patrol wasn't authorized. I made a judgment call to pursue those insurgents outside our assigned sector." I felt my jaw clench. My hands started shaking, not from fear, from rage. "Sir, Vaughn needs a hospital, now. He's got maybe 30 minutes. If we call for air support, Brigade is going to want a full after-action report. They're going to ask why we were 3 clicks outside our patrol area. That's a career-ending investigation." He said it so calmly, like he was discussing the weather. "We'll drive him back to base. It's only 40 minutes. 40 minutes on those roads, with the bouncing and the heat, with a punctured lung. Vaughn would drown in his own blood before we made it halfway." Sergeant Nolan Pierce was watching us from across the room. He'd been in country for 3 tours, seen everything. I caught his eye, and something passed between us, an understanding. "Sir," I said carefully, "with respect, I'm calling for that bird." Hartwell's face went red. "That's a direct order, Sergeant. Stand down." My hand was already on the radio. I could feel my heart hammering against my ribs. 8 years in the Army. I'd never disobeyed a direct order, never even considered it. But I was looking at Vaughn, 21 years old, kid from Oregon who talked about his little sister constantly, who'd shown me pictures of his dog, and I knew what 40 minutes would mean. "Dust off 6-4. This is Granite 2-1. We have urgent surgical. 1 priority alpha casualty. Request immediate air evac." My voice stayed steady somehow, professional, like my hands weren't shaking. Hartwell lunged for the radio, but Pierce stepped between us, just stepped in the way, silent, his rifle still in his hands, not threatening, just present. The helicopter arrived in 14 minutes. The crew chief took one look at Vaughn and said they'd gotten there just in time, maybe 3 minutes to spare before he would have bled out internally. Hartwell filed charges against me that night. Insubordination, disobeying a direct order, unauthorized use of military assets, the works. I packed my gear, knowing my career was over, and honestly, I felt nothing but relief. Some things matter more than rank. But here's what nobody expected. Wade Griffith, our platoon medic, had recorded the whole conversation on his helmet cam, audio and everything. When the investigation started, he submitted it as evidence. Every word Hartwell said about covering up the unauthorized patrol, about letting Vaughn die to protect his career, all of it documented. Hartwell got court-martialed, dismissed from service, lost his pension. Last I heard, he's selling insurance in Delaware and can't get anyone from his unit to return his calls. I got cleared of all charges, received a Bronze Star for decisive action under pressure, and made Sergeant First Class 2 years ahead of schedule. Vaughn recovered fully, finished his deployment, went home to Oregon, and became a firefighter. But the real story? Turns out Hartwell had done this before, twice. 2 other soldiers had died on his watch in circumstances he'd covered up. The investigation uncovered all of it. Those families finally got answers about what really happened to their sons.